Chapter 9. Development as Community Building. Work from the bottom up and trust the intelligence of the people. Joanna Macy. In this chapter, we will have a look at communities in the Global South whose basic needs are not met. We will have a look at how we can support these communities to flourish. If we want to be really compassionate in the way we build community and restructure society, we have to find ways to transform for communities which are struggling to make ends meet. The process of helping the Global South grow is usually called development or aid. Yet, I do not like these terms very much. Instead of developing those that are underdeveloped or aiding the needy, I prefer thinking in terms of inclusive community building, together with the Global South. In line with the rest of the book, I want to reflect in this chapter how the stronger sense of social connection can benefit our relationship with the Global South. Based on my 20 years of experience working with communities in India, Haiti, Kenya, and Namibia, I would like to share my insights on how to collaborate with them in the most effective way. Our experience. As mentioned before, I started a reforestation project on a barren piece of land in Orville, South India, more than 20 years ago. In the villages around us, basic needs such as food and shelter were mostly being met. After a few years, I felt called to export our model and recreate it in other places in the world. Many places in the world have been deforested and would benefit from tree planting. I wanted to focus on places where people lacked access to basic resources and where there was malnutrition. Our experience was in water conservation and reforestation on degraded lands in semi-arid areas. So, we decided to work in barren lands in the Global South, in remote rural areas where people are unable to practice agriculture and are confronted with repeated droughts and the effects of climate change. As a result, they suffer from food insecurity. Our approach is to implement water conservation measures and plant indigenous, drought-resistant, food-producing trees together with people around their homes. In this way, we can restore the local ecosystem and create long-term food security with local communities. And so, in 2010, we started a sadhana forest in Haiti, in a small town called Ansa Pitres in the southeast corner of the country. In 2014, we started a sadhana forest in Samburu County in the north of Kenya, working with the Samburu tribe. In 2020, we started a mobile reforestation project covering 25 villages in Meghalaya, northeast India. Our team stayed for 3 months in each of 5 different village clusters, working with local communities. In 2023, our intervention in Meghalaya evolved into 3 permanent centers, one in each tribal region of the state: Kasi, Garo, and Jantia. Also, in 2023, we started a small center in a very poor village in Virudhunagar district, in the south of Tamil Nadu, South India. Finally, in the latter half of 2023, we set up a sadhana forest in Kunene region, in the north of Namibia, working with the local Himba tribe. In these centers, we have nurseries where we grow saplings of indigenous food-bearing trees. Our team of volunteers live on-site at the centers. Every day, they go around in the local villages to do water conservation work and plant trees together with local people. They also train them in water conservation and reforestation techniques so that they will be able to take care of their trees. Our teams visit the planting sites regularly to provide support and follow-up. In Haiti, Kenya, and Namibia, we also have free drinking water taps where people can come and take water for household use and watering the trees. After a few years, the trees start producing nutritious nuts, fruits, and leaves, and they do not need much water and care anymore. If a family has a few trees planted around their house, this will provide them with food security for the rest of their lives. The communities we work with have very poor diets that consist mainly of empty calories, without much fresh fruits or vegetables. They are lacking in many key nutrients, which lead to various diseases. When we plant trees, we try to focus on planting those indigenous trees that are exactly the nutritions the local population is lacking. For instance, in Kenya, we are planting a lot of Moringa stenopatella. The leaves of this tree are very rich in iron. Many local people, especially women, suffer from iron deficiency and are subsequently anemic. This is leading to premature births, low birth weight of babies, and childhood stunting. After families plant moringa around their homes with sadhana forest, and the mothers start consuming its leaves daily, iron deficiency disappears, and the health of newborn babies and infants improve markedly. The trees provide a vital supplement to the diet. The fact that we are planting food-producing trees that will feed their families gives people an incentive to protect the trees. Because we plant around people's homes, they are able to protect them. Without protection, the trees cannot survive. In Haiti, many trees are cut to make charcoal, which creates a livelihood for many people. In Kenya and Namibia, we are working with semi-nomadic pastoralist tribes. If the trees would not be protected, the cattle would graze the saplings to ground. Similarly, in India, free-roaming cattle can eat all the green leaves on its way. In the process of starting and running these projects, we learned a lot about working with local communities in the global south. We went to Haiti in 2010 in the aftermath of the devastating earthquake that happened earlier that year. We wanted to create a sustainable solution to the food scarcity. Initially, the local people did not understand the purpose of our project, nor our way of working. Let me give you an example. We came as a team of 14 volunteers from all over the world. The fact that we were all volunteers and were not being paid for our efforts was very difficult to understand for the local Haitians. Haiti has a history of slavery, and for Haitians, working without getting paid amounts to slavery. Moreover, Haiti, especially after the earthquake, had been flooded by NGOs and aid agencies, and many Haitians were left frustrated. They felt none of the NGOs had fundamentally changed their predicament. Outsiders who came to help them were often welcomed with apprehension and skepticism. It took us many years before we could really win their trust, and they started believing in our vision. These and similar challenges helped us learn a lot about how to collaborate with communities in the global south. 4 years later, we started our project in Kenya, and we used the lessons learned in Haiti. There was a long process before we started the project. We wanted to first present our project to the local community and see whether they would be interested in having us. If they would not have been interested, we would have been happy to go to a different area where our solution would be relevant and needed. For 3 years, we paid regular visits to Samburu County, and we had lots of meetings with the Samburu. We wanted to understand their vision for their community and their land, as they were facing poverty, malnutrition, and increasingly frequent droughts. We learned that their vision was to stay on their land in spite of the difficulties they were facing. They were looking for practical solutions in order to survive there. Their vision fit perfectly with ours. The indigenous, drought-resistant food forests that we could plant with them could become a major component of their survival strategy. As we explained them our rudimentary plan, they became increasingly enthusiastic. After 3 years of fine-tuning our plans together with them, we started our work. All the preparation paid off. The implementation went much more smoothly than in Haiti. This extensive experience helped us incredibly when we started 5 new sadhana forests in 1 year, in 2023. For instance, in Namibia, we wanted to start a sadhana forest in a very remote tribal hamlet, 2 hours drive from the nearest village. The Himbas in this hamlet still live very traditionally and are very wary of any outside influence. Before starting the project, we came and presented it to the entire community and had 2 days of intense discussions with them. After these 2 days, the community approved our project and invited us to come and start a sadhana forest to plant trees with them. They even offered us some of their community land to build the center. The fact that we established permanent centers and our teams live on site creates a very strong relationship with the local community. We live very humbly. The campuses are off-grid and made from simple, sustainable materials. Our management team consists of full-time volunteers. We go out into the surrounding villages every day. This makes us very accessible to the locals. They come and visit us every day. Moreover, the fact that we have permanent centers give a very strong message to the community. We are committing ourselves to work together with you, and we are in it for the long run. Being on site enables us to be responsive to the needs of the local people. One day in Kenya, a local woman saw our solar panels and asked me if she could charge her phone. I told her she could and asked her how she would normally charge her phone. She told me she did not have electricity in her house. She would go to the market and pay 30 shillings, which is 0.3 USD, to charge it. She could not do this regularly because that would be too expensive. So, I pulled out an extension cord and we started charging phones from our solar system right then and there. Nowadays, dozens of locals come to Sadhana Forest every day to charge their phones, free of charge. When we started the project in Namibia, we set up a charging station as well. There was no electricity in the area, and people were charging their phones using small, low-quality solar chargers, which were not very reliable. Local people come to trust us and see us as part of their community. They do not see us in the same way as they see other development agencies or NGOs. I once overheard someone in Ansa Pitre, Haiti, saying there were 2 NGOs active in his area. When his friend told him he forgot to count Sadhana Forest, he told him, Sadhana Forest is not an NGO. Sadhana Forest is part of our community. It made me very happy to hear that. Integration with the local community is exactly what we are trying to achieve. And in Kenya, the Samburu tribe even invited me into their council of elders. That is how much they see us as part of their community. The long run. So how can we have the most impact when working with communities in the Global South? What are effective ways to engage in development work? It is not an easy task, and there are many obstacles on the way. Many projects do not succeed in creating a long-lasting change for the good. And even if there are positive outcomes, there can be negative side effects as well. Here are a few things that I keep in mind when working with communities. Real change takes time and lasts a long time. The problems we are dealing with are multi-layered and complex. There are no quick fixes. Change can happen only when everyone involved changes. And people do not change overnight. It is an organic process that happens by building trust and strong relationships. Effective change should last a long time as well. Focus on sustainable solutions that equip people to face the challenges of today and tomorrow. When difficulties arise, and they will, don't give up. Make sure you have the inner resources to tackle obstacles head on and persevere. This is a marathon and not a sprint. Change starts from the grassroots. It requires close collaboration with the local community, deep understanding, and mutual respect. Listen, learn, adapt, and innovate. Do not come with prefabricated or generic solutions. Sustainable solutions are tailor-made, not mass-produced. Keep an open mind and integrate into the local community. See the world through their eyes. Be present on the ground. Ideally, you and your team live on-site and interact daily with the local community. Without their support, you cannot achieve anything. Develop the solution together with them. Empower people. Focus on their strengths and capacities, rather than on what they are lacking. To return to one of the key points of this book, start from a sense of abundance. If we start from a sense of scarcity, all we can do is keep trying to fill that void. Our goal is to support people to become self-sufficient, come with a humble attitude of service, and co-create solutions which will increase their independence. Do not just come to deliver goods or services. As the saying goes, give someone a fish and you feed them for a day. Teach someone to fish and you feed them for a lifetime. Find the right donors who believe in you. Donors should have a profound understanding of your vision and implementation model. Ideally, they should come and visit the project site. This is the most effective way to educate them about your intervention. Relationships based only on presentations, reports, and numbers will not lead to sustainable results. There should be deep trust between you and your donors. Work with donors who want to support long-term projects, value quality over quantity, and allow for flexibility and innovation. Change cannot be reduced to numbers. Keep the focus on the actual work in the field and the change created in people's lives. If you would like to read more on this topic, I recommend going over the report of the Listening Project. The Listening Project is a study carried out by more than 400 researchers over the course of 4 years. In-depth interviews were conducted with over 6,000 recipients of aid in 20 different countries. Out of these interviews, clear lessons were distilled on what kind of aid interventions can be effective. They're proposing a model called collaborative aid. 10 steps to change. Based on 20 years of experience in the field, these are 10 steps I follow to co-create effective and sustainable interventions. My approach centers on creating a long-term vision with the local community and implementing it together over a very long period of time. While living and working with the community, we constantly receive feedback and improve our modus operandi. The goal is to restore the resilience which communities have lost due to the long-term impact of colonialism and climate change. The collaboration should enable them to stay on their land and move toward a better future. Step 1. Before starting the project, spend a long time, at least a few months, with the community. Learn firsthand about their history and their vision for the future. I always try to ask open questions like, where do you see yourself 20 years from now? How would you want your children to live? Step 2. Together with the community, identify their main present and future challenges. Co-design an intervention strategy which addresses the challenges for the long term. If the community is active in the design of the intervention, it will address its needs better. The community members will feel greater ownership and will be more invested in the implementation and its success. Step 3. Assess when the relationship you have created with the community is open enough and there is enough mutual trust to enable a successful implementation. Step 4. Once you're ready to start the implementation, do so on a very small scale for at least 1 year. Take the time to learn and constantly rethink the strategy and try to improve even the smallest details of the operation. Step 5. Evaluate together with the local community when the intervention is fully mature and ready for scaling up. When it is, scale it up dramatically to increase the impact. Recruit self-motivated and able staff and provide them with quality training, infrastructure, and equipment. Step 6. Your local team should be hired directly from the beneficiary villages. Intelligent and practical people from the area are better suited to implement the project than university graduates from major cities. Local people have a closer connection with the community and they naturally relate to the local challenges. Step 7. Supervise the scaling up very closely and make sure that it does not reduce the quality of the intervention. The phase of scaling up is very critical. The leadership should invest maximum effort in supporting the team to maintain the attention to detail which characterized the small-scale implementation. Step 8. Engage your local and international team members for at least 5 years at the same implementation site. Such a long period will enable them to learn the local language if needed, build strong relationships with the local community, and perfect their technical skills. The community will learn to trust them and to collaborate with them very efficiently. Step 9. Make sure the follow-up continues regularly far beyond the duration of the project funding cycle. This will ensure that the impact of the intervention is very substantial. For example, if the project includes planting fruit trees, the follow-up should be at least until the trees are all producing. A follow-up of 2 or 3 years is not sufficient in this case. Step 10. Scale the implementation up and down, depending on the funds available, but never stop implementing. The community may lose trust in your type of intervention if you completely stop your operations and leave the area. Before starting the intervention, make sure you have funding available other than the project funding, such as recurring small private donations. This will enable you to continue implementing on a small scale, even when there is no project funding until the next project funding comes in.
This is Orville Radio, Voices from the City of Dawn.